This is when I was a kid. I remember growing up in society. I was not raised by wolves, and human society, America. And I remember, you're surrounded by families. You grow. I had the idea in my head. You grow up, you marry a person, a woman, probably. I am a man. If you're not looking at me, I am a man. Even if you are, but. And then you have kids, you have a job, you retire, and you die. And I remember when I was 13 thinking, I've never kissed a girl, how will I get married? And that troubled me for many years. Then I kissed a girl, I did more things to girls, threw up in some number of vaginas, but then when I was 21, I'd had a few relationships, but I felt like no closer to the promise of society, the American dream. Of I'd been in relationships, but all of them would end less than a year. 6 months, I would stop caring for a person, and I would, I guess that's that. Right? You guys know, sadness. I had, sort of a relationship maybe each year of college, and until my senior year, I met this girl, Robot. I was supposed to think of a fake name, I didn't, but let's call her Robot. We met at an a cappella concert. Pretty lame, right? It was a group that I used to be in, and I'd quit to pursue my solo music career. But I thought they were great, so I went back to see them in a concert, and this girl was there too, so common interests. Neither of us knew that a cappella was bad. And I guess we struck up a conversation. I probably did. I followed her home or walked her home, and we sort of hit it off. It was just you're young, you're attractive, they're attractive. You like each other. They seem nice. She was Brazilian. I liked Brazil nuts, and that was enough. I remember one time early in our relationship, maybe it wasn't even our relationship. Early into knowing her, there was a big party outside the suites that I lived in. And she was there with some friends, and she got super drunk and was throwing up everywhere into her own vagina. That's enough of that. But she was real sick, and I think she was a freshman, but she was an old freshman. I'm not taking advantage of a young freshman. I'm falling in love with an old freshman. And my apartment, my room was just feet away, and so I was like, here, you should lie down. You're sick. And her friends were like, you're not gonna go with that guy in this condition. And I didn't even know I didn't know that rape existed, I guess. So I was like, she's sick. She should lie down. So I took her. I followed her home. I took her into my place. And then my window overlooked the courtyard where everybody still was. So they saw me lay her onto the bed and then put a blanket on her and then leave the room. And they told me later that we were oh, which means oh, he didn't rape her. He's good, It's real sweet. So our relationship progressed, and she became she was she was nice, she was pretty, she was open-minded. I think she was the first person that brought strawberries into the bedroom for, not snacking, and kind of for snack. Anyway, I was a vegetarian. I liked fruit. It was great, and it was the first relationship that didn't sort of fizzle after a few months. We stayed together the whole year. I was like, wow, maybe this was the first person that I thought about maybe being with forever. I didn't have any other crushes. I didn't want to be with anybody else during that year. I was like, wow, I guess this is it. Maybe this is what it's really all about. Finally bridging the gap from, thinking that I would get married someday from not being able to imagine how that would practically happen. And so then I graduated and I went to summer camp as a counselor. Where I'd gone for many years. I taught music and so she stayed in Boston and I was in Connecticut, at this place that was like a magical place that I loved. But we stayed in we were still in a relationship. We stayed in touch, and it was wonderful. But then I met this girl, Android, and Android. She was the first person that I had feelings for since meeting Robot, and it was confusing because I was like, oh no, what, I was led to believe that I would meet the person that I wanted to be with forever. I would fall in love and I would be with her forever. And I was like, I did it. But then there was this other person and I was like, oh no, this is a problem. But there was this attraction and I thought she felt it too because we sort of like stayed away from each other a little bit in the beginning. But then we both learned, like I had this girlfriend and she had a boyfriend back at home where she was from on Battlestar Galactica. And the southern state of Battlestar Galactica. So that made us able, we were like, oh wow, we both have relationships. We can be friends. So we became friends, like the best of friends. We stayed together every day, every minute of every day that we were awake. It was super. We essentially were in a relationship, everything but physically. It was like dry dating. I don't know if that's a phrase you're familiar with. Another ex-girlfriend of mine, I don't know if she coined it, but she taught it to me. It's like dry humping, but for a relationship. And you guys got it already. And so we just went around the whole time, and there was this emotional intimacy that was completely separate. It had nothing, I still loved my girlfriend. It was completely separate. I was like, this is fine. I told my girlfriend that I had this new friend, and she was suspicious, and she was, I don't know why, but nothing was going on. And I was like, oh no, Android is fine. Robot, you're worrying about nothing. Until the day when, essentially, in my mind, I realized I was like, oh, this is emotional cheating. I am cheating on my girlfriend emotionally, and she wouldn't like if she knew everything that really was going on, which was nothing physical yet, but why shouldn't it be? It's already a betrayal. Kissing this woman wouldn't be any more of a betrayal. So I kissed that woman and did a few more things, squeaky wheel, grease, I don't know, something robot-wise. And it happened. We didn't sleep together, but it got physically intimate. But I justified it because I was like, yeah, that's essentially, look, this is totally separate. We're in this bubble of summer camp, and look, it's fun. I can have a new friend. I can be emotionally connected to another person. It's the same being. So the summer ended. I went back to Boston. My girlfriend broke up with me. She didn't know the truth. I didn't have time I didn't tell her, but she was just like, she was suspicious. She was like, I don't like it, and she left. And I think I would have told her, but now it's too late, right? Why I shouldn't, she broke up with me. Oh, and also I cheated on you. Well, never mind. So we moved on with our lives. She started dating another guy. I did other things. Women is what I did. And a couple months later, we reconnected. And she apologized for, being so abrupt in ending things. She was like, I realized you didn't do anything, from what you told me, you didn't do anything wrong. I overreacted. Let's talk about getting back together. And I was like, oh, this is everything I want. And here's the thing. I had realized that I should have just lied to her. That was what I had learned from the whole ordeal. If I just lied, it was over. The bubble was gone. If I had just not told her anything about that woman at all, we would have been together and happy, still moving to the future. So I was like, lying would have been the right answer. Now, I had the opportunity to use what I had learned. And my ex-girlfriend now said to me, let's talk about getting back together, but first, did anything happen with that girl? And I was like, all right, just tell her that it didn't, and then you're happy forever. But I couldn't, so I said, yes, something happened. And she laughed and she was like, I knew it! And she was cracking up, and then I turned into crying. And she was like, I knew it. And I was like, oh, but we're okay now? We were not okay. She was like, I gotta go think about things. She thought about things, and she stopped being with me, or didn't start again. She eventually married that guy that she had been with, had a baby, very happy. See, happy ending. And, but here's the thing, telling her the truth felt like the right thing, but it made me feel like crap. But a couple years later, she came to me. We stayed in touch, and we met up, and she told me that before she got married, in between when we broke up and she got really involved with this guy, she went away for the summer back to Battlestar Galactica, where she was from, and that was the other person. Okay. Names and places have been changed. So she told me that she met a guy. She fell for him the same way that she remembered me falling. That when I had tried to explain to her what had happened, she didn't have any idea what that meant to be able to care for two different people at this. Like, I was like, the intimacy was totally separate. My having feelings for this person had nothing to do with you. And she was like, that is crap. No, because she was raised in the same kind of mentality. You love somebody, you love that person. You feel for somebody else, you don't love that person. But she started having feelings for a guy while she was dating this other guy that she eventually married. And she thanked me for that experience. She was like, if that hadn't happened, I finally understood what it was that you went through, and I didn't act on it, where I might have in the past. I might have been like, oh, maybe this is the guy that I love. But she realized you can have feelings for two different people. And so ultimately, it was great. It was for the best that honesty had sort of, it eliminated the relationship between us that wasn't right. We shouldn't have been together. I was 21. You don't know anything when you're 21. I was wrong about wanting to be with her forever. But she was right about this guy, and she was right to not do anything with that other guy. And now I know, like, being honest is the best. Like, there should have been no problem at all. Like, you can have feelings for multiple people at the same time. Like, you can't, it can happen. And the only thing that causes a problem is being dishonest about it. About being dishonest with yourself, with your partner, with anybody that you're involved with. So now I feel like I know what I want, I know what I'm feeling, I know, like, whether I'm with one person or robot or two or three. Like, I'm just, I'm looking for somebody that I can be completely honest with. Just the one person for me that will let me be with others. That's all I want. And that's that. Thanks, everybody. My name is Mike Kaplan.